Yeah, they've been here for quite a minute. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and start the event today. Again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hani Paulo Imani. I'm co-host of today's event. We are going to be talking about Swahili. But on the other side, we have Brother Eugene in North Carolina and Mr. Russ in Philly, and Jerome, I believe, in Maryland somewhere. Nafar and Sister Katare also in Maryland. Am I telling the truth, Sister Katare?
Yes, you are. 23 years in Maryland.
Okay. Yeah. So for those
Same
who
here.
are new, for those who are new to this panel discussion, we do have panel discussion every single Saturday where we discuss issues relating to Africa and African diaspora. And today we're going to be talking about African official language or African working language or African unified language. That's what we're going to be talking about, which is the Swahili. We invited a lot of doctors and professors who has experience in Swahili language, who actually studied the language and have those PhD in linguistic, so they can help us to get some understanding and some questions as well. But let me start by welcoming David. I think he's been online for quite a minute. And yes, David, can you give us your little summary of who you are?
Yeah, good evening.
And where you are too?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Daudi, currently working at the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute. But now I'm at Arusha. I continue to study at the Kilimanjaro University. I'm not the expert in Kiswahili, but I've been born in Tanzania, Swahili, thinking in Kiswahili, but it's not in my mother's tongue. My mother's tongue is Kiha, from Kigoma. I think, Brother Man, you know Kigoma?
I do.
Yeah, Kigoma is nearby Burundi. So I know somehow how to speak Kirundi. I know somehow how to speak Kinyarwanda. I know somehow how to speak Kihaya. I don't know what can I speak because I'm not an expert, and always I'm dealing with people.
Yeah, we will come back to you when the questions comes up. Yeah, now we just want to give you, so we want to hear who you are. And by the way, when he say Arusha does a city in close to Kilimanjaro Mountain Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. Yes, thank you so much for coming, Dr. David. And let's go to our friend Huntington, who is from Zimbabwe, and who actually happened to speak Swahili. I don't know how he get it, but yeah, can you give us a little bit about who you are, Mr. Huntington?
Yes, thank you very much, brother. Yes, my name is Huntington from Zimbabwe. I live in America. I've lived in America for 20 years, and I've been working on the project to find a way to transform Africa for 7 years, a journey that is stretches over 14 years. And in the end, I'm now the author of a book called The Riot Act, the African Master Reset. an African transformational Bible. So in other words, I designed a plan for the transformation of Africa, and I've been on this job full time. We unveiled the plan, and we are about to hit Africa, the ground in Africa, to set up an executive team and an African Modernization Council. Thank you. And I think to add in, how do I know Swahili? I learned Swahili in Lubumbashi in 1998, and I was lucky that when I came to America, there was two families, you know, they couldn't speak, they only spoke French and Swahili. And I helped them, taking them to the doctors, to school, helped the kids with homework and stuff for 1.5 years. So I was only speaking Swahili with them. And then I went to Texas and I met another brother, you know, from Zaire again, from the Congo. And he preferred more to speak in Swahili. So I've been speaking, you know, with Swahili with him for, you know, for over 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, Mr. Hamilton. When he said Lubumbashi, that's in Republic Democratic of Congo, that's where he learned how to speak Swahili. We have Mr. Akosu. Can you give us a little bit about
No,
yourself?
I'm not a mister. It's me, Lillian Oakosia. Yeah.
From England,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry?
From England.
Yes.
England.
So I was born in Germany, moved to England 7 years ago, but I'm Ghanaian. Yeah. And yes, I love languages. I'm actually a languages teacher. I speak quite a few languages. So I grew up with English and German. Sorry?
You speak it Twi?
Yeah, Chi. I do. I grew up in Germany, so I speak German, English. I'm a French and German teacher in England, so I speak French as well. And Chi. I grew up with Chi, and I had to do Latin and ancient Greek for my studies. And now, I due to my research, I don't know. I just started, so don't test me. Learning Swahili. So, yes, but yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you for coming. As you guys hear, she is in England now. I don't know what time it is there, but it's possibly a little late.
It's 11 or 11. So yeah, 11:11.
Yes. So
PM or AM?
PM.
PM. Let's pass microphone to Dr. Manahija. Dr. Manahija, do you want to speak in English or you want to speak in Swahili so I can translate for you? We can't hear you. You mute yourself. No, she's not. Manahija, unanisikia?
I'm here.
Do you want to speak English or you want to speak Swahili so I will translate for you?
I try English,
okay.
But I will also use Swahili.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit in short about yourself, who you are and where you are and, you know, your background.
Okay. I'm Dr. Manahija. I'm from Tanzania, Zanzibar town. So I'm Executive Secretary of Kiswahili Council. I deal with Swahili development here in Zanzibar and following this development in other countries.
Thank you. I hope you guys understand. Eh?
Do you got me?
Yes, we understand you. Everyone got what she said, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. She done well. She did well.
Okay, yeah. Very good. Yes. Very good. Yeah, let me see if there is anyone to introduce who may be on.
Okay. Do you give me a chance?
No, I will come back to you when the questions comes. Just wait.
Thank you, thank you.
Gashon, Birbo? Can you
Yes,
just
sir.
tell us? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So I think today's discussion is about language, yeah?
Yes, just give us your who you are a little bit, then we'll come back to questions and in details what we're gonna be talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Gashao Birbo. I'm from Ethiopia, and currently I'm living in United States, in Maryland State. Professionally, I'm a mechanical engineer working for the Metro, Washington Metro system. And I have been here for the last almost 10 years in the United States, enjoying the freedom, the political, the economical opportunity. And, I came to believe that this is a land where human species are living practically and properly. So I said that's all what I can say about myself.
Do you have any kids or something like that?
Sorry?
Do you have a children, a wife, or any family?
Yes, sir. I am married. I have 2 kids, 2 girls, 11 years old and 4 years old.
You forgetting about that? You? Oh, man. Yeah, thank you so much, brother, for coming in. I'm a Signaro, and I think he's the only one we have on, we have to give microphone, I believe. Now, today we're going to be talking about Swahili language. As you all know, let me go back and give a little background. From before before Africans, so-called nations become independent, there was always, or there have been idea of uniting Africa. It's not something new. It was a way before even we become independent. From Marcus Garvey, who actually completed 100 years, his idea was to unite Africa. That's where the word Pan-Africa came from, actually. So from that the time on until today, we haven't actually accomplished the one vision of uniting Africa. Generations comes and pass, we have not accomplished it. So and if you guys know about history, for instance, if you ever learn about Romans, you will know that anytime they will go somewhere, they establish the kingdom, but the Latin language was not left behind. Okay. And you know exactly English, British as well, or England. Anytime they go somewhere, the first thing they invest in is their language. They make sure that people who they are conquering and people who they are colonizing, they are.
Oh, we
Your Handy, you
we
muted
don't hear
yourself.
you.
I saw it. I don't know if someone did mute me. So now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, and unfortunately or sadly, when even in Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, and all those Pan-African who came before us, they never discussed the importance of the language as unified language. And we Africans, we are so divided. We don't have any key factor to unite us, actually. Nothing. We don't have religion will unite us. We don't have one. We don't have the same culture. We don't have one. We don't have same history. We don't have one. We share nothing that can unite us, except if we try to create a language and maybe some kind of opportunity way, but otherwise there is nothing can unite us. And you cannot unite people unless you have something that's gonna hold the unity. Believe me on this, if you will take English out of America, this country will go down, okay? Not only this, even any other country you think of, once you remove, you dismantle the language, people start to feel like they are not actually from one nation. So that is the reason why we come up with the idea of Swahili for Africa, or advocating Swahili to be the African national language or African unified language. If there is any question from so far?
Well, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Can I make a comment before we go on about some of the things that you just said?
Yes, you can make
Number
comments.
one, you mentioned the idea that we don't have a common culture or history. Did you say history? Did I get you right?
Yes,
I
we
think
don't
you said we don't
share
have a common
total
history.
full history.
Yeah, okay. So, I'd like to differ right there at the beginning, or I'd like to offer an alternative explanation. I think I believe that generally Africans have got the same culture. There are differences, or you could call it a cultural dialect, where each country, each culture takes the identity of that group of people in that country, but generally the culture is the same. The way we relate to each other, the way we share information, and the way we do our life, even what we eat generally is very, very similar. So I like to say that we have a very strong foundation of culture that has not been common yet or united because of the nature of the country system. Number one. Number two, we do have a historical, a very deep historical background. There's been some breaks or aberrations here and there, but we came from the same people, and we spread all over this land. We are basically the same people, but there are episodes in our life history that have detached us and changed our culture to an extent that we don't look at ourselves as the same anymore. That's just what two things that I wanted to point out.
Thank you, thank you. So does anybody have a question, or someone has a question regarding Swahili language to be the unified language, or why we choose Swahili or anything?
Yeah, can I talk?
Yes, you asking question or you just
Yes,
making comment?
question, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You are right. Language may have an impact on creating unity between peoples, and but the biggest point that I don't agree that language is going to bring a big thing is that when I see in Africa, almost maybe 80% or 85% of the country even hasn't still finished nation building within themselves. Still there's a tribal problem, fighting each other. Because there is still economical injustice, political injustice. There is a lot of stuffs. That's not solved still. So, in my belief, unity, love, peace, hope, start from your own house. So, what the reason why I say that is, which country in Africa can be an example? Let me say now, if Swahili is going to be the language for all of Africans, we need to see something that beyond language. What can you see? What hope can you see? Because a country is not about the leaders or about politics. So it's about the peoples. The peoples of Africa have a lot of demand. We are all the way down there when the other part of the world are striving to go and colonize another planet. So maybe some peoples might blame the European colonialists that colonized Africa for a long time and blah blah. But the problem is they are gone. Still, I can say that the African peoples are still under the colony of the dictatorship leaders of their own country. I'm not trying to say from in my country or anywhere. Once they come to power, they want to stay there for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years. And for me, the beginning of civilization is political maturity, just like as we see in the United States. The reason why they are here today with biggest economy, extremely matured economy, politics, mature social tolerance, and everything is because before 300 to 200 something years ago, some guys sit down and build the strongest and very mature political structure in which they wrote a constitution that anybody from any part of the world can enjoy. So I, we don't need to always, finger pointing to outside. We have to solve from our inside. We have to solve our political problem, economical problem. Yeah, if you take example as an example, Ethiopia or Kenya or any other country, are they really democratic? When I say democratic, not as a leadership, not as a politician, not as a party, but does the people really feel that they own their country? Do they feel that they are the one who elected their government into the office, that they can, push them out from the office whenever they want? Do the people really develop this type of confidence in their country? So, to tell you frankly, African problem is extremely deep-rooted, very deep-rooted. We are very blessed with natural resource. We are blessed with weather. You can see Europe. If you go to some other countries, they are living in a worse weather condition, but they win the weather and they build the strongest country on earth. We have everything on our hands, the natural resource, the weather, and all. But the problem is that it's all, or the biggest problem is, Africa's biggest problem is leadership. Because the leaders, once they come to power, they think that they own the peoples as a tool. They think that the country belongs to them. So the first thing that should be solved in Africa is the leadership problem. The leaders have to know that, and has to recognize that the country belongs to the peoples, and they have to build a very mature political structure, in which they are not going to stay on power, in which the people feel that they own the country. They have to transfer the country from political ego to the owners, that are the peoples. Maybe you might, you may read the books about the industrial revolution of British, French, and many countries. The reason why they are here today is the people's fought the tyranny, and they take the country away from the egotic leaders. Then the power is now more on the people's hand. Unless that type of things start to happen in Africa, could you give me any example or any leader in Africa who is really democratic, who really delivers the country to its peoples? So my question is eventually, why language? Which one comes first? Is that the politics or language? Do you think that the language can make a big difference in the African big problem? That's my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think that question directed to me. I'm gonna answer the question. If you don't mind, I will give you maybe a chance to other doctors to talk. But I want to answer this question. I think that everything he said is right. We have a leadership problem. We have a corruption problem. We have a lack of infrastructure. We have lack of bad education. We have famine. We have conflicts, war conflicts between tribes and tribes, countries and countries. We have poor, which is the key fact to almost all the problem we have. People are very, very poor. And all of those, I actually have to examine them. I think, Ras, if you remember, the first time we met, I had a list, and there was, which one should we tackle first? Should we tackle leadership? Should we tackle medical welfare? Should we tackle protection? Should we tackle infrastructure? Should we tackle civil rights? Should we tackle protecting our ladies? Should we tackle farming, food? So I think everyone has a calling. And I think if you see a problem in education or in corruption or in leadership, having bad leader, not democratic, I think you should go ahead and tackle that. Me personally, I choose the language because of these following reasons. When I was in Kenya, I was trying to go to Ethiopia, and it's the next country actually. And I could not find a bus take me from Nairobi, Kenya, which is possibly maybe 5 hours if it's fast from Nairobi to Addis Ababa. There was no bus take me there, okay? But there was a bus take me from Nairobi to Kinshasa in Congo. Yes, there is Nairobi to Kinshasa, there is bus. There is a bus taking me from Nairobi to Bujumbura. There is a bus taking me from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam, from Dar es Salaam to Kigali, Rwanda, from Dar es Salaam to Juba in South Sudan. And the question was why this is possible, why it is impossible so close from Addis Ababa to Nairobi. Why? Because if you want to go from Addis Ababa to Nairobi, you must get a passport, you must go in an airplane, and you must fly, which is impossible for our people. It is not going to work. Our people don't have money to buy visa. Okay, people who are talking about it don't have money to buy visa. So I found out that is actually the communication issue. When you leave from Ethiopia to Kenya, the communication cuts off, okay? But when you leave from Kenya to Kinshasa, Swahili keep moving. Okay, of course, it's gonna be some accent there, but if you're leaving from Bujumbura to Kampala, you're gonna be able to move. You're gonna still be able to move, or even to Juba in South Sudan. Why? Because there is a language, there is something you can use. So I took language in terms of business. People who want to buy, if you want to sell injera from Ethiopia to Kenya, you should be able to do that, because if you can talk to them, you will be able to sell whatever you want to sell it to them. But if you can communicate with them, you're not going to say it. So my friend Gashe, who think that the language is nothing, I believe that the language is the key. Believe me on this. Anytime you go and you meet someone who speaks the language you do, you feel even more close if you see white men who speak your Amharic language, or your Oromo, or Afar, or Benyashangu, whatever language you speak, or Amharic or Tigrinya. If you see a white man who speaks that language, you're gonna be more close to someone, even if you have your sister who does not speak the language, you're gonna be close to the white man who speaks your language. So it is the key. Language is not something just talking. It's not something, it creates some connection. The feeling of like you belong to one home, you know? So I don't know if that answers your question. But
Brother Yohani, that was a very good answer, as a matter of fact. And I would confidently say that that answer has addressed a lot of people who had the same ideas about why language, or why Swahili even. So that was a very, very good, and it was your experience that brought it to life also, that taught you that. And I just want to thank you for that insight.
And by the way, I think I still have, let me get this one here. Just give me a second. I'm gonna show you something very quickly. This one here I have is money. So when I was leaving from Ethiopia to Kenya, I forgot, I thought I was gonna be able to change my money. You see, all this is Ethiopian money. In Kenya, you cannot change the money, the Ethiopian money at all. But you can change Kenyan money to Burundi, to Rwanda, to Uganda, to Congo. But when you have Ethiopian money, you're not going to change any other place except in Ethiopia only. So you see, this is a problem. This is really a problem because of no communication. No one who's going to take your bill money in Kenya. Who's going to take it? Who's going to take your bill money in South Sudan? Nobody. Who's going to take it in Uganda? Nobody. So I think that you guys should understand. This is really expensive. This is my Ethiopian money, and it's a lot of money too. It is a lot of money. This is the last, like, hundreds. That's the last bill they have. It's just hundreds. So I think that if anyone has a doubt about it, you really have to look careful, because when we talk about business, you may think of big people, okay? I'm talking about people who sell bread on street. I'm not talking about those who come from with a lot of big money to like Chinese. No, I'm talking about people who sell bread. Those are the ones we try to facilitate how they can buy and sell bread among each other. Now, let me go to Dr. Manahija. There was a question that was raised about Swahili. Can someone study from primary school or high school all the way to university in Swahili? Dr. Manahija, are you there? Yes, she's there. Can you hear us, Manahija?
Make sure she's not muted.
Yeah, I think she's muted and I can't see her anymore.
Maybe she's not in the room.
I can't unmute her. Can you do that, Jerome? Do you have the ability to do that? Let's ask that question to Dr. David. Dr. David, you also study in Tanzania and possibly you should be able to tell us, can someone go from primary school all the way to university in Swahili?
No, you can study Kiswahili in the primary school and take some in the secondary school, but you can take some course in a university when you specialize. Maybe take a bachelor in Kiswahili. Exactly, I think you can take Kiswahili from primary to university, but in secondary, many subjects you are supposed to read in English, not at all in Swahili.
Okay, so Mr. Huntington, you asked that question. I think you get the answer is that no, you cannot from primary school all the way to university. You cannot have a degree there. Are you raising hand, Mr. Kai? Yes, you raise a hand? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, speak.
Okay, is it me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, my name is Idowu. I'm calling from Abuja, Nigeria.
Very good.
Hey,
now, I want to talk about how are you today?
Good.
My main concern is that yes, it is have a language, but we have to be pragmatic. Language is important for unity, and unity we desire so much. Some people have a flair for picking up languages. Some people don't. Some people, if they don't have an incentive, they are not going to be able to speak another language. We have experienced that in Nigeria, where we have well over 200 languages within the country. So it is important for us to have a language, to adopt a language as a unity language, but we must be pragmatic. We can work with what we have. English is very popular. French is also widely spoken. We keep in focus in an aspirational form that we need an African language. We should not sit down and be sulking that we don't have a common language to take us to where we want to be. On the question of common aspirations, we have many things in common. We went to the same historical experience of colonization. We went through slavery together. We went through so many things together. Those are the things, and we are even still experiencing oppression together from even our political leaders. These are things that bind us together. Yes, we need to forge unity. Unity is very, very important. The idea of unity is very important and should be nurtured in whatever language we are speaking right now. So these are very important things that, but we cannot be dwelling on the differences. Let us move forward using what we have to try and get to where we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to answer you, especially since you are from Nigeria and you are in Nigeria. This is New York Times page on my screen. And again, let me go back. Let me see. So this is article was written by War Sainka. Okay. So yes, you are a Nigerian. You know who is that. War Sainka was a writer, very, very good expert from Nigeria. This is what he proposed. In 1987, he said that Nigerians and other Africans should adopt Swahili language. Nigerians dismissed him, okay? Kenyans, that time, they picked up Swahili language. In 1987, that's when Kenya picked up Swahili language. Now, anytime you say Swahili, people say, oh, you're from Kenya, okay? But if Nigeria should have picked up the Swahili language the same time, now we could have different stories. So you see what I'm trying to say. What am I saying is this one here. You cannot say that we have English. That's a colonial language. It's not going to work for us. You cannot say we have French. That's a colonial language. In fact, if you want to bring English, French colonized people are going to fight you from the hair to the toes, okay? If you bring in French too, English colonized, they're gonna fight you from the hair to the toes. And I will fight you too, because I'm not going to bring in a colonial language in Africa. It's not gonna happen. So we need to have our own language. Otherwise, let's sit down and forget about uniting.
To my brother in Nigeria, thanks for calling in. I'm Brother Rasa Lula, and I'm here in Philadelphia in the United States. And you said we should work with what we have. So the question is, what do we have?
Swahili.
Number one. Number two, if Swahili is not the answer, if your answer is other than Swahili, I would argue that 22 countries in Africa have adopted Swahili already as their national language or official language for business. So I would just like to ask you again, and maybe you can answer, what do we have? You said we must work with what we have.
Okay, can I respond?
Please.
Now, I do not disagree with adopting Swahili. Don't get me wrong. But I am saying it is very difficult, especially for people of different tongues to pick up a language. You need a lot of resources to commit to it, to make it where you want to be. So I think the languages we speak can be used for now to foster the idea of African unity and to articulate how to get out of the oppression that we are feeling, initially from the West, now from the Chinese. We have to exist, but we have to take a language, like you said, know that this is language we are going to adopt, but we work with what we have right now to try to get there. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against Swahili.
Yeah, I think you make good points there. I do appreciate brother from Nigeria. And again, Nigeria is a good example of the language issue when it comes to tribes and languages. The reasons why we picked Swahili, first of all, there is a major 5 reasons. The first reason is because Swahili is not a colonial language. That is the first reason why we choose it. The second reason is because Swahili is not a tribe language. It does not belong to an ethnic group at all. So it's not like Yoruba, Mandinga, Hausa, Zulu, Kikongo, Kikuyu, Amharic, or Oromo. No, it's not like that.
Yoruba.
Eh? So that
Excuse me 1 minute. Excuse me 1 minute, Mr. Speaker. There's a Dixon Senior. Will you please mute your telephone device or your device, please? Mr. Roger E. Dixon.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him too, so I can mute him as well. Okay. Yeah, it's gone. So I was on number 2, right? So Swahili is not a colonial language, which means it's not coming from outside. It's not oppressor language. Number 2, Swahili is not a tribal language, which means that it does not belong to a ethnic group like Hausa, Yoruba, Mandinga, Pura, Bambara, Nuera, Nubia, Amharic, Oromo, Afar, Kikuyu in Kenya, and Kihaya in Tanzania, and so on, or Uganda in Uganda. So Swahili does not belong to a tribe or ethnic group. Number 3, Swahili is the easiest language to learn. If you want to take learning Swahili, it is at least like maximum, even if you are really, really bad, it is 3 months. Especially if you speak any other African languages, because it was formed from Bantu languages, most of them. So that is number 3. Number 4, Swahili is already spoken by many people. Okay, many people on the continent in Africa and outside as well, and in many countries as well. So we have people who speak English and Swahili, or Swahili and English, who can teach everyone who speaks English. They can teach them Swahili. We have them. We have a number of people who can teach if we decide to do. Number 2, we have people who speak Swahili and French from Rwanda, Burundi, Congo. Those can teach all those French colonized people Swahili. So I don't know why you say it is, or people think it's impossible.
Well, I'm not saying it is impossible. I say it's difficult. Now, you see, you will agree with me that we do not have a central authority in Africa. We do not have a central authority that can invest resources in the teaching and the learning of Swahili. So we've got to take it on a persuasive and on an incremental level by winning national, like you said, there are 22 countries that adopted Swahili. That is good. We should persuade more to adopt Swahili and to commit resources to the development of the language, both in teaching and in learning of it. But that is going to take time. You said it takes about 3 months. Okay, good. But when you said 3 months, the 3 months is not for everybody. So I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm for one language for Africa. I do not rule out Swahili because of the qualities that you have qualities that you have enunciated. But we need resources to popularize this, the teaching and the learning of this language. And we just do not have a central authority that will do that for us.
Well, you're
I
right.
want us to be pragmatic.
You're right, Mr. Iduwu. We do need the resources.
Yes.
And there is a central authority. It's called the African Union, right?
Oh.
We have to get there.
Yeah.
There is a central authority, right?
Sorry to cut you short. I was a diplomat for 35 years. And I can tell you the African Union is a place to divide. It's a place to scramble is a politicking place between the countries in Africa that we have now. They have adopted an African passport. Has it worked? So that
It
is
takes
something
time,
that,
man. Everything is going to take time. As you
oh
said, it's
yeah.
going to take time.
I think
And we
let
also,
me.
hold on, Johanny, we also have the New African Network.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Let me go to. I saw Jerome
We
raise a
can.
hand. Jerome, do you have a question?
Yes, I was yeah, I was going to touch on what Dr. Gashahun mentioned. Now he made a good point that someone else actually made a point last week. I believe it was Miss Mary Apollo, that the problem in Africa is the leaders, the leadership, all right? But my question is, seeing that we know about the East African Federation, right? The proposed political union, where in East Africa, and they speak Swahili, as you mentioned, brother. And so I was wondering if what is going on right now with the countries in Africa, East Africa particularly, and Central Africa that speak Swahili, if we see like a potential of unity there, like you mentioned that you were able to travel from Kenya to wherever other places, and even to Congo, and you were able to understand each other with Swahili. So do you see can this be like a model that we can use to unite Africa and with speaking Swahili? Well, Swahili, the language is going to be one aspect of it. It's not going to be the only aspect, of course, as we know. But eventually, like Mr. Ndu said, we eventually we can get there on a continental level. So yeah, that's my question. If we see like a potential, if the East African Union is, the East African Federation is a good example. Thank you.
I think that very much what you are asking is key to the idea of Swahili language. I'm trying to share something with you guys. So we have, this is the map of Swahili where we are so far. I think you guys, you can see that, right? The green areas. You see that? Yeah, so the two green one is not really that much in there, but there is something there. And the rest of it is just the other one. This one here is where Swahili is used actually, really, like people speak it off a lot. Actually, it goes a little more further here too, to Sudan, I believe. So this map is not correct actually. But that being said, yeah, I think East Africa community, there is a lot of possibility that it may unite. But again, I can't trust that. Or even SADC as well, a certain development community, something like that, someone may know. But I don't know, I can't trust on that. I think we need to take that by as individual countries, and which I'm going to give a microphone to Mwanahija, because the president of Tanzania, he's actually the top candidate and the top pushing the idea of Swahili very, very strong as a president. And I think that we have some kind of power there.
Yeah.
As a
Yohani,
president. Yes.
can you look at my screen? Does this look more accurate for Swahili speaking countries?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, there is more countries coming in as well. Yeah. So yes, I think that will answer your question. That there is some areas that are developing East African community and SADC, which is Southern African development. I don't remember exactly how you say it, but yeah. Now, I want to ask Dr. Mwanahija, who studies Swahili actually as a linguistic, about because when we received English and French, they came to us and they destroyed our indigenous languages. And I want to ask her if that is not going to be the same case when Swahili comes to other countries, because we have to protect those languages. We have to protect our indigenous languages, even though we need to speak one unified language. Can you tell us how that's gonna be? Can other languages they speak, local languages, gonna survive with Swahili, or it's just gonna be like how English destroyed our languages and French? Manahija, can you hear me? She was talking. Dr. David, can you answer that question? Because you say you speak more languages. I don't know what's going on with her. I see her, but she can't answer my question.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, you see how when English and French, when they came to colonize us, they almost kind of destroyed our indigenous languages. But it may be, do you see that is different when someone speaks Swahili? Because you already said that you speak Kiha, if I'm not mistaken, and what was that other languages? Kibukoba. Yeah. Yes. So how do you manage to speak Swahili and you don't lose the other languages?
Yeah. Kiswahili is our national language in Tanzania. I think also it have been used in Kenya and other East Africa country. But in Kiswahili is a language which have been formed by so many local languages. In Tanzania, we have so many tribal or so many local language, more than 60. And the Kiswahili have been formed by those language. If you speak our local language, you can get some word from Kiswahili. And if you speak Kiswahili and you don't understand Kiswahili, and and someone speaks Kiswahili, you can understand somehow. So you can get that Kiswahili have been formed with many local languages, especially Kibantu. Bantu language is the old language which have been used by most of the African. And I have been studied somewhere that Kiswahili have been studied is the language was most useful by the coast east country, especially Kirwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, and there was the language which the colonists they used as the media for their trading, and it was the most language they used it to divide people. So if someone speaks Kiswahili and you don't know Kiswahili, you can get some word and understand, because it's a language which have been formed by so many languages. And I can answer Mr. Nifemi Ido, who was not understand. How can so many tribes use one language? This has become possible in our country, because Mwalimu Nyerere have been unite us in our country by using Kiswahili. We have so many tribes in Tanzania, Kisukuma, Kikuria, Kinyamwezi, Kihaya, so many, and some tribes I don't know them, but we came automatically. We came automatically and understand each other through Kiswahili, and then now it have been moved to so many countries. And if you hear some people from South Africa speaking their local language from South Africa, it is related with some word from Kiswahili. For example, in Zwiriri, in South Africa, it's just a song, and in my local language, we call is indirimbo, indirimbo, in Swahili indirimbo. It's just like the same. When you say umuntu, in South Africa, we say umuntu. In Kiha, we say umuntu. And then when you come in Kiswahili, you say mutu. You just see, it's just like a pronunciation, which it becomes similar, you know. So Kiswahili can be a good media for communication. And I was browsing Google. It is in Africa more than 100 million people. They use Kiswahili. So I think it's the time for us Africans to use Kiswahili as the media for unite us and take over. Be like a China who are using Kichina. And Brother Amani, another time, when you come here and just try to communicate and emphasize Kiswahili with Kiswahili, and find someone to translate Kiswahili. Because if you speak Kiswahili in English, people, they don't get the tone of Kiswahili.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for breaking down. I think everyone understood him, that he's trying to tell us that Swahili, as I think I already said it, it's a credit, it's a made-up language actually. It's people who were doing trade, they sit down and they were like, how can we create a language to trade among each other? And they took all African languages, Bantu languages especially, and they add them together. And they took some other North African languages, and they put some words in there, and Arabic as well, Portuguese and Spanish and English as well. So there is a few words from almost every language. But I just want to show you the map of areas where they speak Swahili, which is right here from Kenya, Tanzania, DRC, Rwanda, Uganda, Africa Union, of course, East Africa Community, SAFTEN, which is SADC, Mozambique, Burundi. But I also want to highlight something very, very important, which is very good here, is that Swahili is a language of trade. So it's a trade language. It's not just like regular language. If you want to learn Swahili, you should be thinking of business. It's a business language. And that's why it's very easy. Yes. Someone talking? No. Okay. So now back to the idea of protecting other languages. As Swahili already came from other languages, we need to protect those languages in Swahili as well. We must protect our indigenous languages. We have no option. Those who speak English, they will protect the English. And those who speak French or Creole or Creole and Twi, they will protect the Twi and Creole. But we have to protect those languages so that they don't overlap with Swahili or other language like how English has been doing. I don't know if there's any question. Oh, someone raised a hand.
Akusia, but that's fine. Or Lily. Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
When we talk about decolonization, and we have this this language, and we have part of this language is, you know, as you said before, is Arabic. Part of it is Arabic. Part of it is yeah, there are different parts of the language. So can we say that when we use this language that we are decolonizing if you're still using parts of, I don't know, that was just a thought that came up.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I have here that I'm gonna knock that down very quickly because one day I was in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and someone, I was talking to them, they say, oh, that's a Kenyan language. I was like, no, it's not Kenyan language, because Kenyan, I talked Swahili very like not long ago. And then this man say like, oh, that is Arabic. Swahili is not Arabic. It just have like 30% of Arabic. If I speak Swahili, someone who speaks Arabic is not gonna understand what I'm saying, okay, at all. I have a lot of friends of mine actually, no, they may understand it. Like if you say numbers, yeah, numbers, most of them are almost the same, and some other names, but it's around maybe 25 to 30%. So it's not colonial language. It's not gonna be Arabic. So in English and Portuguese and Spanish, they may have like less than 1% word in Swahili. So it's just nothing there. All the words actually come from Bantu languages. That's how you can hear someone speaking like Shona in Malawi. If you listen carefully, you're gonna understand what they are saying actually. And in Mozambique, Zimbabwe too. If you listen carefully, you speak good Swahili, you're gonna understand what they are saying. So it's not, it has nothing to do with colonial languages. If that answers your question.
Yes and no. Because I was thinking like, you know, as I said, if we talk about decolonization, and part of this, what you said or what you described as made up language is, you know, okay, it's less than 1%, you just said now, and as I said, I don't know, I can't, you know, I just learned that now. But my thought process was, if part of it is, part of the language is, as you said, 30%, it is 30%, but obviously then we have the majority is made up of a bunch of languages, as you said, but there's still this 30% or over 30% that is, you know, colonial languages. So should we use 100% African language then to unite us?
Yeah, I think if we had any language, let me answer that by saying
Yeah,
about.
I had this. I just say, because I had this conversation with a very good friend of mine, and we were talking about this, and like, for example, Yoruba, or it could be a Hausa is widely spoken as well. If there is an alternative to, or if we should just.
Okay, yeah. Let me knock that one down too. The reason why we choose Swahili is because it's not tribal language. Yeah, if you can look at how much firings between Yoruba and Hausa every time, they wanted to make, if one president comes as Hausa, they want to make the tribal language to be the official language. When they leave out, is they want someone who comes want to put the same thing. It goes a whole way to Ethiopia today. Oromo and Amhara, they are fighting so hard almost to destroy their country because of their language. So if you want to bring a African unified language from the tribe, you're gonna be the most loser. It's not going to work. Yeah, it's almost like it's not gonna fly. Don't even think about it. To bring like someone language, someone tribe language, and you want to impose to everyone in Africa? No. No, that's actually the reason why I picked Swahili. Yeah, so you
can I come in?
I do understand that. That's
can
a
I
very
come
good
in
point.
there, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I come in?
Yes.
You know, I think I'd like to approach this a little bit differently. You know, first of all, I think when you want to do something, we must start with, you know, if you want to go somewhere, you must start by defining the destination, and you must justify why you need to go there. You don't start talking by, you know, working out the journey and what type of, you know, transport you want to use. So I think the first thing we must agree on is that we need an alternative language. You know, when we agree, then, you know, what are the merits of having that language? Then, you know, yes, we can say Swahili, and Swahili is spoken in many countries, right? Personally, I think, I believe that Swahili is very easy to learn because I learned Swahili, I was able to communicate within 2 weeks because I went to, and I actively, you know, created a form of learning for myself so that I can catch up very fast because, you know, there was no English, you know, it was French and Swahili. So, but the way I see things here is that, first of all, when we agree that there's an imperative for us to have a language, this is something that, you know, the debate is something that can only be, you know, achieved or bring an end when we have, you know, a place of unity and we're saying, okay, we're united. Shall we go forward? I mean, what language shall we go forward? Because we need one language. So, and then there's also this possibility that, you know, we could choose a different language. The idea that, you know, you cannot take one tribal language and use it, you know, I kind of, you know, want to look at it a little bit different, because people can learn anything. The key thing for me is to say, okay, what language today can be used to college level? What language can be used in engineering? What language can be used in medicine? Do we have African languages like that? You know, and you know, I was talking with a friend of mine. He was saying that the, you know, is it Amharic? The Ethiopian language, you know, has been there, and they have their own alphabet, and it's a very ancient language, and you can take it to college. You can learn anything in Ethiopian. So, you know, so if we choose Swahili, then if, as one of the, you know, brothers said, you can't study anything else with Swahili except Swahili, we need to realize that it will take maybe a generation in order for us to develop, you know, maybe 30 years in order for us to develop the language to an extent that we can use it, which comes back to the idea that the brother from Nigeria was putting across, that it's something that is long term. For now, we can use the common languages. So I think the key here is to decide first whether we need an alternative language. And because this is about Swahili, if Swahili can be used in science, can be used, you know, in medicine and so forth, and you know, the way English, for example, is used, then it's a good candidate. It's a good candidate for that. How fast can it be developed to, you know, to achieve that is, you know, would be the question. Because, and I think also another brother asked very quickly. I hope I can wrap this up very quickly. Another brother came up with this idea that well, it's hard for us to you know, to talk about that because we have political issues, we have economic issues. Is it language or economy that we should deal with? You know, and I think that one of the things that we have to kind of like think about as Africans is that we have a lot of intelligent people, we have a lot of educated people, we have a lot of industrial people, entrepreneurs all over the world, in Africa and in other parts, but we have not been able to unite. And if you talk of the people, you know, of African descent abroad, they have not been able to do things together. You see, so why is it that? I think we need to understand that first of all, we need to build a cultural rehabilitation, because when you break a culture, you break a people, because culture is the knowledge content that matures over a period of time to you know, to an extent that a society can then drive a new paradigm. It's the science that works, but it works with culture. That is why you know, I think that you see that we are at loss of where to start. Where shall we start? I personally think that the idea of focusing on the unity, some form of unity, which I don't think that political unity or even the African Union matters so much for now. I think a form of industrial unity, where we can look at what we can do or how we can modernize our nations through an industrial unity and then develop into political unity over 10 years. That in itself is a big issue, that it will take us about 10 years just to unite politically. So it's a good discussion to look at now. And I think it should be developed and linked to a process like a development program as an element of that program. We should focus on the transformation and modernization with a sense of agency. But I think it's a good idea for us to have this discussion. But at the same time, can we look at other comparative languages, whichever language is able to be used very quickly and adopted very quickly, then we can. But then also whether it's quickly or not is not such an argument anyway. You know, I got to defeat my own objective, but I think it's important because if we want a new language, then we have to understand that it will take us at least 20 to 30 years for it to become effective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'll have to tell you a couple things. The first thing is that maybe you should watch my videos 2 weeks ago when Ethiopians were fighting on our show because of the language. You know, I was, and I'm still actually somehow advocating Amharic language very, very much because it's rich in good history. You know, it keeps us like, you know, we should be proud of that language. Actually, everyone should. But now it's in a boiling situation. The Ethiopia, all the things you see happening in Ethiopia today, if you are tracking, it is based on, it has to do with the Amharic language as well, and the tribes, which is Amhara and Oromo, and other Tigray, and so on. So I think that is just the most of destructive things you can talk about. Now, when it comes to how fast this can be done, Rwanda adopted English from French. It took it was less than 2 years. I was in Rwanda past 7 months ago. So many people who went to school now they are speaking English already. Sudan is another example. They adopted Arabic. Sudanese did not speak Arabic at all. It took very short time to be done. So I don't know why you guys would think it is something like carrying some kind of individual carrying the world. No, it is not, because we already have resources in place. And you the good example actually of saying that you study Swahili in 2 weeks. I say it's 3 months because I have done a lot of examples, and I know someone who studied Swahili and she was speaking in 2 months. So you did it 2 weeks and you were speaking Swahili last time I hear you on show. So you definitely can speak Swahili as business, not like, you know, professional. So I don't know why you guys will keep saying that it's difficult. It's not difficult. The only thing we need is the reason, the motive.
Can I say something? Can I say something? I think, look, I think there's a very, you know, small misunderstanding here. We're talking about the same thing. Yes, Swahili can be a language. Yes, Swahili can be learned. But you see, for it to be a structural language where you can do trading, where you can approach every area of social endeavor, you know, economic and political, that is not going to take 2 years. If you talk about you know, Rwanda, you know, coming from French and English, I don't think that's something that can be faded within 2 years. But for you to speak any structural English language at a very high professional level, it takes time. If it takes time to spread it, just because, look, everybody is not going to jump on it and say, yes, we are. Or even if they do, to develop it in every nation and then develop it, you know, into a continental, you know, language is going to take time. We can't ignore that. I think the key thing is that we must agree that, yes, we are going to use Swahili. Yes, we're going to develop it, but it will take at least 15 to 20 years before it can actually be used, because you have to develop, there has to be some study to bring in new words, to build in new words. And that in itself is a job that will probably take at least 10 years to develop. And then to teach, and even the people that speak Swahili themselves would have to learn those areas and those elements of the language. And thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I'll have to watch the video, but my time is up. I have to go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your contribution. Tutaonana siku nyingine. Kwa heri.
Quiet. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't know, anyone has question?
I think my time is out now.
Yeah?
I want to leave now because tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can go ahead. We still have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes left. Yeah, go ahead.
I have lots to say. I was just inform you that I'm going to bed now.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you, Dr. David. Go ahead and have some nice sleep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, bye. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone has a question. So anyone has a question? Dr. Manahija, she said that she have a low battery low internet, so she cannot actually talk, but she's listening. Now, so why do we push this, me personally and other people, why are we pushing this more than it has ever been? Because we have in position a president of Tanzania who is actually very good advocating Swahili language. And I think that if we miss this opportunity, we will not be able to get this again. That's why I'm actually pushing, and everyone who actually want us to unite and have something at least in common should push the idea of Swahili so that maybe when this president is out of the office, we have already left somewhere to some other place. And again, I think you guys should understand that Swahili, Swahili is not, let me turn on my camera for a second.
Yeah, as you do that, as you fix your camera, I was
Yes.
just thinking to myself, those are some really good points brought up. I think you had a good argument, and also the brother also had some good points that I think he's concerned about the time frame, but you were pointing out that Swahili is actually pretty easy to learn, and I've also noticed, even I don't speak it, but I noticed the words are easy to pronounce. I've tried. I've learned a little bit of Amharic and even Oromia and stuff, and even Ge'ez. I tried learning that because I was putting Ge'ez into my book. I have Ge'ez words in my book, in my novel, and also Oromia words, just to try and bring people together in the story. And those languages, especially Amharic and Tigrinya is pretty not easy to learn, to be honest, especially someone like me who's an English speaker. But I even found Oromia easier to learn than Amharic and Tigrinya, the pronunciations, But Swahili seems like pretty easy to learn, and there are even some words that we use in America. That's we use words like Ubuntu and Uhuru and Kwanzaa. We already use it, and I'm actually surprised to hear that people have learned it in a couple of weeks and months. But it kind of makes sense.
And don't forget even like chap chap, all those words are from Swahili too.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
I didn't know
chap.
that was Swahili. I thought that was.
Yes.
from
Amharic
Nigeria.
has.
Also,
Go ahead.
yeah, also, as far as the time limit is concerned, we've been speaking colonial languages for over 400 years. So if it takes 10, 5, 10, or 15 to adopt an African language to unify the country
Yeah, that's
for
not too bad,
business
right?
and for other purposes, I would take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a drop in a bucket.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that people underestimate the power of Swahili language, especially if you don't speak it. But in some countries, it's just everything is done in Swahili. So yes, there is some technical words maybe they have to come up with, which all my writers and my Swahili experts did not come actually. but there are professional people who actually are creating those things. You talk about like science books or mathematics terms and so on. They are working on it. I think that we should not have to worry that much about how it's gonna go, but the only thing, if the country accept it and just like, hey, you know what, you guys, you teach it how to speak, how to maybe to be able to communicate and to hear what someone is saying as business language. The rest of it, if someone wanna go for doctor to study Swahili, they will go there and study. But what we need now is just to communicate in English like how we do, you know. A lot of time I say things I don't even know how to write, you know. So that's
I mean,
what I think we need for now. Yes,
I
okay.
would say, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding of the many of the comments of the people that talked today. You know, I've actually shared my opinion on this before, and you know, it's still pretty much the same thing like everyone is saying. We have, you know, we have some people that are still having doubts about, you know, whether the language is not colonial. That's not really a big problem. Also, we have some questions. We have some people that are worried that, you know, it might take some time. You know, it's not a big problem. Also, they are all concerns that we do need to consider, but they're not big problems. And the whole idea, the essential idea, fundamental idea that makes you bring it up is a very good and novel idea. You know, because it also advises on how we can unify. Anything that really brings about the unification of the African people is definitely a good idea that has a chance on the table, right? Because right now we have all hands on deck. But then the fundamental thing that I believe we need to address then is really the mechanism for bringing about the unity. Because while we agree that speaking the same language, having the same currency, there's so many other things that would definitely unify us. And even if this language is going to take just 1 week, right? The mechanism that is going to make it successful is really what is missing. And I think that's why everybody is kind of hearing their opinions. That mechanism, I believe, needs to come from a structural unified front. And that's why somebody also mentioned the AU. I think it was Raz that mentioned AU. Yeah, if we had a very powerful AU and a functional AU today, these kinds of things wouldn't even need to be discussed on this forum, right? Because we would have a body that would have realized that this is really good for everybody, and they would have passed some kind of decree to make it globally desirable and globally, like a global instruction. So then the structure is, how do we get that unification and that strong sense of unity where we can communicate to each other that this is the majority interest, right? Where can we come together and say, okay, everybody, well, that graph that you showed us today about African countries that have started to adopt Swahili, that's a convincing graph, right? But we don't have a unified front where we can tell everybody else that this is what we want to start doing now. So see that people are adopting it. It's good. It's learn it, you know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, so that unified front that helps us to communicate across board is missing fundamentally. It's going to be hard for you to communicate your desires and what you explained today to all Africans. If you're able to do that, then what you need to worry about then is the message itself. Let's make it very short and concise, and it's going to be like an instruction, not really like an advice. Everybody pick up Swahili, and then if we have that unified front, right, like a strong AU that can make such statements, nobody would come and say, it's going to take a year. We know it's going to take a year. We know it's going to take more than 10 years. There's so many things that we have started working on right now that we wouldn't even leave to see the end of it. So it's not really the time that it takes that matters. It's the vision and the execution of that vision, and then the command to put that vision into a decree. That's what we're missing here.
Yeah, I think, yes, Mr. OP, thank you for your contribution. And I believe that we have to highlight a few things. One, the map we had, it was not right, because I have a real map from 2019. the official language of East Africa community, which is this one here, you see my mouse was on, that is Swahili. Okay, so this is East Africa community. Now, SADC, also Tanzania is included in SADC, which is the whole of this. So SADC also 2019 adopted Swahili over to Madagascar to be the official language, which they haven't completed yet, but is in the process. So this can give you huge amount of area to start with. Now, when it comes to the structure you talk about, I think that we have to address some countries to support the structure, okay? Like the taking off ground, you know, like how if people adopt Swahili, accept to adopt Swahili, where they gonna get those teachers, or where they gonna get books, where they gonna get all those resources. I think that's what we need to start to look at. And the time, I think in Swahili they say pore pore ndio mwendo, which means slowly is the way you go. And faster has no blessings. That's another way they say as well. So I think the time, it should not be a problem. I just feel like we have to address some of the countries that are proud to push the Swahili agenda, so they can be the good ground, which is many of them. Is the first one will be definitely Tanzania and Kenya and Rwanda as well. We know that Rwanda do support more Swahili than forever. So
Absolutely.
I think, yes. So I think
totally,
that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. That definitely can help to advise the situation. If there's a way we can, you know, start congratulating and lauding some of these countries. I mean, there's a gentleman in Africa. I think he's from Sudan. I've mentioned his name here before. His name is Dr. Mo Ibrahim. Right, Dr. Mo Ibrahim last decade actually championed a program of rewarding presidents, African presidents, that hand over presidential positions peacefully. Right, this man from his own, personal finances pays every African president that hands over power without any violence, I think about $5 million. So that's one man that's doing a lot of good stuff in Africa. So that's a method of promoting and congratulating good behavior. So we can definitely start using that mechanism to start championing the kinds of structure that I was talking to you earlier about. That structure is going to help us on many fronts, not just this language. Let me give you one very good example on the final one. If you show me a graph right now, okay, of African countries that have adopted Swahili, that's good, okay? Now, right next to that, I want you to show me the graph of every African country today that has adopted Facebook or Instagram. I want to assure you that the second one, that is Facebook or Instagram, is going to look better than Swahili. I can assure you. So why is that the case? Are we saying that we're not able to communicate to our own people that, something that is good for us? So that is the structure that is missing. If we have a structure that is able to, say, this is good for us, right? Right now, Facebook you don't need to communicate that. Everybody knows what they use it for. So they don't need, advice to use that. They just get it because it's good for them. So we need something similar to that, right? Almost like an application. Swahili on your phone. Everybody that has Facebook has a computer or a phone that they can download an application. Okay, so if we are able to, this kind of proposal that you're giving, create an application on your phone that translates English to Swahili or whatnot, download it on your phone and start learning Swahili, and everybody must download it, then it's going to proliferate faster than really trying to, go and force people or advise people to adopt it. But definitely it can help to also congratulate and let everybody know which countries have started adopting it, and yeah, Duolingo is good, right? So, but it will definitely assist that kind of a process when we start talking about countries and congratulating countries and lauding countries and leaders amongst ourselves that are championing the cause. It's going to be a catalyst, and before you know it, what's supposed to take 15 years can actually be achieved in just 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's good, Mr. OP. Thank you for that.
Great idea.
I think we need to move on in electronically. that will possibly even take more down of hard work and spaces and rent and so on. And online, you may be able to run Swahili very quickly down, possibly in class. I do support that idea, and I think we also have to look at the background. I think the testimony of how President of Tanzania, the first President Nyerere, created a country called Tanzania today, which is the United States of Tanzania, because it's two countries together. It's Zanzibar and Tanganyika, from nothing. He took around 124 tribes that they have never been together, and he created them and he made them a country that is possibly the only country, maybe we can say, in Africa has never experienced war in that area. So, and what he did was he did two things. The first thing, he said that everyone can speak your own language, but when it comes to any government institution, you have to use Swahili. And that includes himself too, because he had his mother tongue language. And the second thing he did, he dismantled the tribes. So he actually degraded them, the tribes, by not like trying to oppress anyone. He just give them freedom to be where they are, not being involved in any government or institutions that they can start to be almost like a nation inside a nation, which is what is happening in Ethiopia. There is nations inside a nation, and the nations are strong more than a nation. Now that's how it's becoming. So I think that's a good example that it keeps always. I see like the language can be the key factor to unite Africa. Actually, that's how I always look at it. But in addition to the tribe, to the communication and socializing and feeling like you are in your family, the idea of identity, you know, anytime I go in an airplane and I say I'm from Africa, people be like, oh, you must speak French. You know, it's just getting in my skin. I don't like to hear that, you know, or you speak English, you know, like I have to, you know. And another thing is the trade between us is just very, very worse and wrong. Like in Nigeria, they produce cement, but because Benin, they speak their language, wherever it is, and they speak French. And Nigeria, they speak English. So Benin, if they want to buy cement, they have to go to France. And sometimes it may be the same cement from Nigeria goes to France and then it comes to Benin. You see, this has to end. And the reason is because they are just, one is colonized by English, another one is British, by another one by France. The same thing like in Gambia and Senegal. These countries was supposed to unite, but as you saw the map last week, if you guys were here, but the guy, he said, this young man, he said that they are French colonized and we are British colonized. You know, just to be colonized is just another problem. You know, yeah. But yeah, I think you guys you did a good contribution, and I think you guys, you need to stand with me to see how we can address these issues or these proposals to those governments to be able to see if they can push the idea of common language. And even give more details maybe than what we know, because they are in government and some of them are experts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that being said, unless there is a question, which I didn't see any hand raised, it is 7:36, which is, we are already late. We're gonna have to end this meeting or this panel discussion, and it will be on YouTube as soon as possible. My computer is broken, so I don't know, but yeah, it will be on YouTube. You know where to find the Africans United Business on YouTube.
Sounds good.
Dr. Mundi, do you have a comment?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much to all our guests. Learn a whole lot today. I'm just taking in. So yes, this is something you're passionate about, having in one language. You know, for all of us, we all support it. And I think, yeah, we speak English and some other languages, but they are that they are not our their native languages. I mean, if you go to Cameroon, they've been fighting. There's the French and then English speaker, and the whole one country is fighting over languages not even their language. So, and I love the the answer that you and the question that the gentleman asked about the language, and you said for trading, it's very, very important that we have a common language that we can use because business is everywhere. So that was really, really awesome answer. So again, thank you so much for our guests, and
yeah, let me
was
make
awesome.
a quick observation on that, little quickly for 1 minute. When people who does business, like really business with a lot of money, they use a lot of French or English and so on. But people we are talking about, people we are defending here are people who possibly never go to school, but they still want to sell salt and pepper and injera or bread or avocados. So in order for them to be able to move from one place to another, they need to be able to communicate. And Ethiopia, it keep become good example. In Africa, I think, if I'm not mistaken, between Somalia and Ethiopia, those are the only countries people are dying hungry. Okay, in city, possibly other countries people are dying hungry in cities, but not outside of the city. Why in Ethiopia, what in the world, in Ethiopia people are dying hungry, while in Kenya, in Uganda, in South Sudan, possibly, I'm not sure about that, but in those two countries I just mentioned, Uganda special, there is a lot of food because Ethiopians can't go out there. They don't go there. They just stick at home, Yeah, so I think we need to look in the way of trade and actually helping our people to be able to at least eat once by day.
All right, thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
I will see you next Saturday at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everybody have
Thanks,
find
guys.
out about that march.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.